Alrighty, here we are.
What a morning.
It's been just a roller coaster.
It sure has. But we're here.
We're here. It's literally been the last half of Rose's turn this morning, just breakdown. But we're here. Do you see us on Facebook? Are we there, everyone?
Are we all lit?
It says we are. Just the perfect little cyclone of it. Do you see us on Facebook? Are we there, everyone?
Do you hear that? I'm so sorry.
It says we are.
Go away.
Okay, cool. Cool. Well, good morning, everyone. I love your gypsy shirt. Is that just a generic gypsy shirt, or is that Patty gypsy?
It's Patty. Good day.
Yes, family meeting.
You know what's funny? I did not even think of wearing my Lupone gypsy t-shirt, which I love, because to me that's like not from a Broadway revival. What? But I'm such a stickler. But this is from the Patti LuPone Broadway production of Gypsy, and it is a small, which honestly, even 25 pounds ago, when it was my sexy tight tee, was really inadvisable.
Mm-hmm.
It's only now, thanks to the magic of stretching and, the shirt, not me, and Spanx, that I'm even able to get it on just for the pod. But I will be removing it after.
I love it. Well, I'm sad to say I'm not wearing my Lupone Gypsy G-string.
You don't have to tell. We could just imagine that you are. I think some of our online friends have been imagining that you are.
Well, that's totally fine. Hello, the left coast. I love it, Caitlin Duffy. Oh, you took off the hall.
Caitlin Duffy, when she's on her YouTube profile and she's just Caitlin Duffy, her picture looks just like a pretty, just a woman, a young lady. And Caitlin Duffy Hall is a much more drag racy avatar.
Hello, Eric. Speaking of a woman, I discovered a new Marilyn May album that they just put up on Spotify today. And so I have been listening, and the opening number is I'm a Woman, WOMAN.
Yeah, she is. Oh, but Caitlin, you're so beautiful. I like you this way too. I'm so sorry. Go on, please.
Yes, imagination is free. Caitlin Duffy, we know who you are. The only reason I love the hall, besides the drag race, is because whenever we do our first live show, it's going to be advertised as live from Caitlin Duffy Hall. Except
it's already advertised as live from the Art House Theater in Provincetown this August, which we should start promoting.
We should. So yeah, come see us in Provincetown this summer, guys. I think when is it? End of August?
Ish.
It'll be good because it's something to look forward to all summer.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, well, with that said, live from New York, it is Tuesday morning.
Autumn, winter, next year.
Time heals everything. It's a song. And time heals everything.
That clip that we play every week, we did discuss it a bit on this week's pod episode. Hello, Ken Russell. I'm pretty sure
Ken
got a couple shout outs in the episode as well.
Yes.
Actually, a lot of you guys did. So if you haven't listened to that, give it a listen. It's our 50th, Nifty 50, Roses and Daffodils, Gypsy. We go in.
I'm still there, baby. I cannot come down. I actually listened to the episode last night. I was watching TV, and then I was reading stuff online, and all I wanted to do was listen to the episode. And I put it on, and it was a big mistake because it was 12:30, and I had really been winding down.
Yeah,
and I put on this 2-hour episode, and even after I turned it off, I was just
yeah,
crazy energy. It's like oral cocaine.
Yeah, I've heard people say they listen to us when they go to sleep, and I just can't imagine that. I have to, when I go to sleep, I turn on my meditation app or like Oprah Super Soul Conversations, Brene Brown. Like I need something that's a little more chill. I cannot imagine listening to the oral cocaine of our podcast as I'm trying to get to sleep.
Yeah, yeah.
Well,
I did really enjoy it, and I just liked it so much. I mean, I love the idea of us doing more of these Roses and Daffodils playlists. I'm just like, although as we discussed, we definitely need a pause to catch our breath.
I feel like I need to, get back to my life, reach out to my friends and family who I've been avoiding for months because of this project. This is really, it's like when you're in high school and doing a musical and every time your friends ask to hang out, you're like, I can't, I have rehearsal.
It's a famous line from Smash when she's like, I'm in tech.
Yeah. We were basically in tech for like 2 months.
Totally.
Anyway, with that said, let's go to R&D right now.
Everything's coming up, mama.
Well, hello, Caroline.
Caroline, I have a new, I was going to say, I should say pal. Because cow is not a nice thing to call somebody in the United States, but it's even a less nice thing to call somebody in the UK.
Yeah, although, I mean, not to give away the farm. We do know one lady who's called another lady a cow, and I won't say whom.
In fairness, she was hurt.
What?
She said it out of hurt.
Yeah.
It came from a vulnerable place.
Yes, and I won't say who, but one of them is in our Roses and Daffodils playlist. Anyway, okay, so
and one of them will be in the next one.
That's exactly right. So how do we want to do this? Do we want to do a reveal of the final cut first and go through who made the list?
Yeah, I feel like we should actually tell them the results of Rose's turn because they don't know.
Oh, great. Yeah, I'll start with that.
Well, I mean, I assume many of you may. Oh, Caroline. I mean, I hope everybody listens to this podcast episode because I really think it's like the best one we've ever had. And it's been really like flying off the shelves. We were the number 16 arts podcast in Japan.
Oh, hey.
Arts. Like we were bigger than Warhol in
wow.
And
second stop, Japan.
We're big in Japan. And Argentina, apparently, but that makes more sense. But just I would just like to say again, we could be even bigger if all of our friends would do write us some reviews on Apple Podcasts.
Right. If you just write us
the stars. The stars help, but we also need you to like write. Even if you just write like fabulous ! Like it matters.
Yeah, totally. It'll help us with the algorithm, help us not just be big in Japan, but maybe be big in the UK, the US. So yeah, do that on Apple Podcasts. Oh, can you translate this?
Yes. I only came in to say hi and tell you that I'll see you later because I'm leaving work.
Oh, good job. Look at you.
Well, thanks for stopping by, Isidro. Hasta luego.
Every time I see Isidro's name, I think I want to call him Isildur, which is for all you Lord of the Rings stands out there. Isildur is the one who cuts the ring off of Sauron's finger in the prologue. Thank you. Yes, you can. And I'm so excited you're going to. Big in Belgium like Roni. Hello, Dan Fortune.
Yes.
Okay, let's go over Rose's.
Yes. So Rose's turn from our combined Instagram poll. It was last place Imelda with only 2 votes. At 5th and 6th place with 8 and 9 votes, or 9 and 8 votes respectively. It was Bet and Tyne. Mm-hmm. And then 4th place was Ethel with 17 votes. And I don't know why I'm giving you, this is too much detail of the Instagrams. And then the first place was Patti LuPone with 87. I just wanted to say that Patti was winning handsomely from Instagram, 87. Second place was Bernadette with 34. So then they were the top four, Patti, Bernadette, Angela, and Ethel on our Twitter poll. And then that, again, Patti like really
swept
it. She got 178 votes. This is for Rose's turn. Second place was Bernadette with less than half of that, 81.
Ooh.
Third place, 64 for Ethel. Fourth place, 57 for Angela. So then we began the task of how do I get out of here? Of creating the playlist, which we haggled about. We went through song by song on the podcast. We talked about both of our feelings of each of the 7 versions. Hi, Cousin Nina. Each of the 7 versions of each of the songs in order, and that chronological order in the show and chronological order that they performed the roles.
Yep.
And then we said what each of our top 3 choices for that song were.
Some of them we had to go back because we really just had to kind of Tetris it.
Yes.
A certain
because we wanted to do things that respected the will of the voters, but did not ignore our own feelings. And sometimes that was easy. Like on some people, we all agreed Bernadette.
Yeah.
And then other times it was much harder. And like, for example, ultimately Rose's turn, we went with Ethel, who was neither of our first choices. Nor was she the voters' first choice, but she at least was in the top 3 for all 3 of us.
Right.
And also we wanted to spread the wealth around because there was such a recent bias, recency bias, I think, in terms of how the voting went down, which is why Patti won so much and Bernadette did really, really strongly. Not that they weren't great. I mean, they, certainly my feelings were my favorites on many of the songs, but not to the level that the polls reflected. And so we wanted to, it wasn't like a participation trophy. I mean, Tyne was my favorite on Small World, and I think Daniel's favorite on a song or two. And we didn't give her anything because the voters never chose her. But we where possible, we wanted to zhuzh it so that we could be a little more representative. And especially with someone like Ethel Merman, who, so kind of in some ways undeniably owns the role, and of course was the original. And, definitely a lot of people, I mean, including ourselves, seeing how the polls were going, were like really offended at how badly, I mean, Ethel did pretty well compared to some people, but badly compared to how we all, I think, thought she ought to have done, or at least Daniel and I thought, and some of our online friends who were extremely upset.
Yes, a very vocal group of Ethel supporters.
Yes, and Angela too. But in a way, I think Angela maybe did better in the polls than Ethel.
I think Angela also, she's had, and we kind of discussed this, but she has such a connection to people because she's on TV, she's in movies, so people love her. Ethel, she was on like The Love Boat, and she's been on a few TV shows, but she never really had kind of the crossover appeal that someone like Angela has.
Right, and also especially for the younger generations. I mean, Angela's still alive. She's been on Broadway. Many of us have seen her in 1, 2, or more shows. In benefits and concerts and things. I mean, she's on Twitter, or she's not on Twitter. But,
I was like, what? I do follow, though, Angela Lansbury News.
Yeah, I know, that's what I was thinking of.
Great account. It's like the official one.
It's like Shut Up Lupone.
Yeah, they're the treasure trove.
Totally. And so anyway, but we had some really wonderful responses. So I would love to get some of people's feedback. I can tell you that Taryn, are you even here? I don't think we've heard from Taryn.
We'll go through the list. Give us a rundown of all.
Yes, I'm so sorry.
All the results.
Let me pull it up so I'm not speaking out of turn.
Out of Rose's turn.
Out of Rose's turn. So Bernadette was some people, and for Small World, we went with Bette
Midler.
And Habanero Mr. Goldstone, we went with Patty Luponestone.
Yeah.
Parents here. And for You'll Never Get Away From Me, we went with the Merm.
The Merm.
And I was very happy about that because I just think that she is the only one that really sounds pretty enough on those high belt notes of just try.
Yeah.
And
I'm glad we gave her a ballad because that was one thing that really stuck out to me in this whole process was how good Ethel Merman is at singing ballads.
True that. Well, I've told you before that my favorite version of Little Lamb is Ethel Merman's version. Everything's Coming Up Roses went to Patty Lupone. Yeah. And the Three Nippled Wonder. What? No. And
if it's anyone, it's Bernadette.
And Together, parentheses, although in her case it's just called Together.
Together, yeah.
Went to Angela Lansbury. And then Rose's Turn also went to Ethel Merman.
Yes.
Mostly because Daniel hates Patty. No, I'm just kidding.
I did. If you guys haven't listened, my Rose's Turn choices are shocking. So I'm not going to give any spoilers, but I was surprised at them.
Yes. Well, I think both of us were surprised by how we felt about a lot of things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why the process was so thrilling, though, because I was like, oh, I thought I knew how I felt. And I did not.
The only thing that was really consistent, my feelings now are exactly how I thought they would be coming in, is that I knew that I loved Bernadette, Some People, and I knew that I loved Patty, Everything's Coming Up Roses, and I knew I wanted those, and I knew that I hated Patty and Bernadette in Small World and You'll Never Get Away From Me, and this experience did not change my feelings about that.
Right. Okay, well, let's get some listener responses. Write in and tell us what you thought we got wrong, what you thought we got right. Hashtag justice for whichever lady you desire. Taryn, I'm looking at you.
Yeah, I will say for my justices, thank you, Caroline. I mean, obviously Daniel and I felt good about the final thing that we came up with together. But, my biggest sadness is that we didn't give Tyne anything. And the thing where I was most in love with Tyne was on Small World. She was my first choice for that. And what about you? What was the biggest?
I mean, I'm sad we didn't give Tyne anything. I also loved... I'm glad we gave Bette Small World because she sings it so beautifully, but I also love Ethel on Small World. I mean, that was kind of the first track. That was the first week when we did Small World that I really kind of was blown away by Ethel's range, as far as vocally, because I just kind of expected her to kind of belt it like she always does. But the fact that she just, was so floaty and light and airy and lovely that I just was really kind of blown away by her versatility.
Yeah, she's very versatile.
But I like what you said. It's like that old school showbiz. It's a ballad. You got to sing it sweet.
Yeah, so I can sing anything sweeter than you can. Tyne, Some People sounds like she might convince Papa of the $88. Yes, totally, I agree. I did like Tyne, Some People. I actually was surprised listening back to the podcast that when we did our top 3 for Some People, I think I said that mine was like Bernadette and like maybe I said like Bernadette Angela and Patty or Bernadette.
I think you said Bernadette, Angela, and Patty, I think, and I said Bernadette, Patty, and Ethel.
Yeah, and thinking back, I hate Ethel, some people, but thinking back, I would move Tyne, some people definitely above Patty's. And I think I would even maybe move it for me above Angela's. I think Tyne might be my second favorite of the Some Peoples.
Let's get her into that. Yes.
Thank you, Caroline.
Yes.
Tyne's Rose's Turn.
I really like Tyne's Rose's Turn. If you've listened to the pod, you know this. Spoiler alert. Tyne was in my top 3 Rose's Turn, but I think it's the only song she was in the top 3 for me on. Yeah. And you can, listen to more of that in depth on the episode. But I agree, Caitlin. For me, Rose's Turn is where I felt, I think I said this on the pod, I feel like Tyne was, it felt like she wasn't like pushing herself to the limit. Like, I felt like she was like a little careful, just vocally, in a way that, I have to say, I mean, I feel like anyone listening to the pod, I almost sound like like Bernadette's my favorite. Like, wait, just overall or on?
Yeah, like overall, like the way I describe them on each of their things. Like when I'm into Bernadette on these songs, like obviously Some People, and then she's the one that I choose. But like I describe her Rose's Turn kind of more like, I guess I'm a little more passionate in how I love Patty's Rose's Turn, but I feel like Bernadette's Rose's Turn is more perfect.
Also, like you said, you're coming from the place of like you had all this like trauma with Bernadette's Gypsy, and so like the fact that you're now having this kind of realization or this kind of change of heart through this process, like maybe that is why it seems like a bigger deal.
Yeah, that makes sense. It is so strange. I mean, it's like I did this other podcast a couple weeks ago where we were having like this debate about musical theater, and they asked us about like Bernadette or Patty and Gypsy, and both the guy who hosts the podcast, Alexander Rodriguez, and Broadway producer Adam Epstein, both of them were like, Bernadette's the underdog. And it's like, I guess that's really just conventional wisdom at this point. And it's just so not like, I mean, I so specifically remember when I was like working on a class act, there was this PA, Seth, and this great guy, like one of these like straight musical theater boys who's like really loves musicals, but is just like otherwise such a normal straight dude, and like big sports fan. And I remember he and I were like smoking a cigarette like in this weird like fire alley where we would go like during breaks in tech, and he was explaining it was one of those Subway Series years where the World Series was the Yankees versus the Mets, and he was explaining to me the Yankees versus the Mets, and he said that the Mets are the underdog like Patty, and the Yankees are Bernadette, who wins. And I mean, this was 1999, or 2000 rather. This was, and it was like, right, that's no, but I mean, everyone would have agreed at that point that Patty was the underdog, and I think I'm so like have a chip on my shoulder.
I mean, Bernadette, I do feel like Bernadette is the Yankees.
So there you go.
Can't you add a reprise at the end? We are thinking of doing like a B-sides playlist where we add all the versions that we missed out on.
Not all, just the ones that we have a special feeling for, as well as covers.
To do a Small World cover.
Yes, Taryn, believe you me, don't think I haven't been thinking about that since I got your message. I've just been like, I mean, like, should I just like do a video of me? Well, I'll tell you one thing. That is definitely going into my new karaoke repertoire.
Please. Oh my God, I can't wait.
And
Zach Couch, agree with Ben's opine that Ethel gets a bad rap as an actor by only playing the text, not digging for the subtext.
That means so much to me, Zachary.
Whereas Elaine says she can't act her way out of a paper bag.
I mean, you know what? Maybe it's a really big paper bag. Yeah.
Well, do we want to, before we move on, do we want to discuss? We really haven't discussed it at all either. But do we want to discuss like future possibilities about Roses and Daffodils, or do
Well, let's get some input on the playlist because we want to know versions that people want us to add for the second playlist. Whether
speak in Ben's language?
Yeah, that's right. For example, the songs from this polling that didn't make it in that we still hold dear in our hearts, as well as other recordings of the songs. Like, obviously, the whole reason we even want to do a second playlist about it is because we want Liza Some People.
Oh, God. And she featured very heavily in the episode.
The only thing we're going to have to decide is whether it's the one from Radio City, the one from Carnegie Hall, or both.
I say just do both. More is more, as Eric said.
More.
Wait, has Liza ever sang Rose's Turn?
Yeah, we've listened to it together. We played it on the pod. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You talk about it. You played it for me. This is not like a me thing. This is like, you love it. It's where she's like, get off of my runway. You're like totally forgetting right now.
Oh, right. No, I was conflating it with, because she also sings on the Muppets. She sings
Everything's Coming Up Roses.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, really, you can piece together almost a Liza gypsy recording.
Get off. Oh, yes. I do remember that choice. Get off of my runway.
So yeah, Liza for the Shore. Although I wouldn't include her Rose's Turn. Maybe I wouldn't. But especially like other versions, like it'd be really fun. I forgot to look, but like if there's a Marilyn May recording of any of the songs, I mean, they have to be on Spotify, which is why the Betty Buckley versions of Rose's Turn that are so important wouldn't be on it.
Good question.
It's so funny that you say that, Zach, because I mean, Daniel literally just said unprompted, more is my MO, right? Like
MORE.
But like, it's funny, I never wanted that reprise. Like for some reason I don't like it. I feel like if not only do I believe more is more, I certainly want Patty to sing more in Act 2. I mean, it's so odd that I wouldn't have, but I really didn't want Patty to sing it. I was glad they cut it. I didn't like it being there in the Bernadette thing, but a lot of people disagree. As a matter of fact, friend of the pod and musical theater, well, actually, what's his website? Theater Aficionado, but an expert, Kevin Daly, complained often. What's going on here? Hey, get a room. I don't even. This is not this guy. It's one thing when Nina comes on and my other cousins jump into the comments to talk to her, but I don't even know this fellow.
I kind of like it. I'm like, we are but a vessel.
Take it to Parlor. Oh, he knows everybody. Oh, maybe he's just hitting on ladies. Do we need to?
Looking for a girlfriend.
It's like when I go to a 12-step meeting on Zoom and they have to like give somebody the Evo. Throw the old woman out. But Kevin Daly I was going back because I love everything Kevin has to say. He's so smart.
Yeah, he's so smart.
Even when I'm morally offended by his opinions, I still respect them. But he so I was going back on his website, which everybody should go to, Theater Aficionado, and I was reading like his reviews of like Gypsy, the different revivals when they opened and everything, and the recordings. And he loved Patty, but he took a lot of issue with the changes that were made to the show by Arthur Lawrence, which I think would include that being cut.
Right.
And I'm sorry, Caroline, if you feel unsafe, let us know. And we can't do shit about it. Sorry.
The Mariah Carey energy that this has.
Tell Mark Zuckerberg. Anytime the Mariah Carey thing comes up, I just have to rehash.
Yep.
Because I don't understand why it's not a bigger meme.
Well, because we haven't done our job. That's why.
I know, right? Like, seriously, like, what did like Rabbi Hillel say? Like, Imein Anili Mili. like, if I'm not for myself, who will be? And if not now, when?
Yeah, I was just gonna say.
By the way, nobody laughed. Somebody wrote this nice thing about our pod in Dutch on Twitter today.
Well, you said nobody laughed. What do you mean?
So
I laughed when I read it.
And that's not good enough. And I was like, Daniel, I couldn't have said it better ourselves. It's like this chunk about our podcast.
I had to translate it first to make sure it wasn't like, I want to kill everyone and whatever. I was just like,
it wasn't. But like, I didn't get one like on that tweet.
I liked it. I liked it.
You did? I'm sorry, I didn't notice. Anyway, so the thing is, the Mariah thing is that Patty was on. Thank you, Marina. Patty was on one of the times she was on Watch What Happens Live.
Yeah, so it was during War Paint.
During War Paint, and they had like a question from Twitter, or like someone emailed a question, and they were like, Marjorie in Hoboken wants to know if the legendary feud between you and Bernadette Peters is true or just fan fiction. And Patty goes, fan fiction. I mean, I hardly know the woman.
The woman. Oh my God. Well, Patty's such an expert at giving you what you want in those moments, especially when she's with Andy Cohen, who's already just like such a gossipy little bitch.
Yeah. And there was also Bernadette kind of had a little moment too, although she tried not to. It was more, Patty was, she was closing the door on talking the shit, but throwing a little shade out of the side of her mouth.
Yeah.
Bernadette was like, no shade. But like, she was like, no shade. Because they were like, somebody called in and they were like, we want to know what your opinion is on Patti LuPone burying the hatchet with Andrew Lloyd Webber to sing Don't Cry for Me Argentina at the Grammys. And I honestly think the person that asked it wasn't stirring up shit about, I don't think they were thinking about Patty and Bernadette's relationship. I think they were just getting Bernadette's feelings as a Broadway diva on the situation. Sorry for the street noise. And Bernadette was like, well, whenever you create a role that is so important in your career and that you're so wonderful in, it's natural that you would want to represent the performance in a big venue like that.
Diplomatic.
Very diplomatic.
Well, speaking of divas, I have a diva-licious Name That Belt for you today.
Oh.
I love you. Really sing out. You really build a song. There are very few of us left.
Okay, so this past week in New York, it was beautiful and sunny and springy. This week, it's been a little gloomy and rainy. So in honor of that, and in spring commencing, hello, Amy Ackerman, I miss you. Yes, Patty gives us Taurus opulence.
I mean, this really, Amy, you're really hitting me where I live.
Do
you know that when I was 19, I sent Patty a birthday card. I didn't know her. And it was the card, I bought it at a fancy card shop, and it was just the Taurus
Love it.
symbol. And I was like, happy birthday, fellow Taurus. It's a great year for both of us. I told her everything I was doing in college.
Well, I'm so glad Amy said the Aries Mars energy, because it was always so shocking to me when I realized Patty was a Taurus, because Patty comes off as such a fire sign to me.
Is that true? Is Mars in her chart? Is Aries rather in her chart?
I mean, I guess so. I trust Amy.
Amy, are you saying that based on knowledge, or just you're just reading her?
Anyways,
I agree 100%.
So in honor of the springtime, I really wanted to do Spring Can Really Hang You Up the Most, but there's like 3 versions of that song online. Yes, It is true. Love it, love it, love it.
Hold it up.
She got the receipts. So this week, Name That Belt, we are doing Don't Rain on My Parade.
Oh.
So get your fingers ready to type in the answer if you know whose voice this is. Yes, we do need Patty's birthday. First up.
Linda? Speaking of opulence.
All right, next up.
I know that. Oh, Judy.
Sir, and this didn't say that, sir.
It's actually Judy and Liza.
From Judy and Liza Live at the Palladium.
Yep. Next up.
Cher?
Yes.
Wow. Wow.
Past guest of the live stream. Good job.
By the way, do you remember him complimenting my glasses on the live stream?
Yes.
So then he was like texting me, where did I get them? Blah, blah, blah. A week later, he sends me a picture wearing my glasses.
Yes. You are now a fashion influencer. Who knew? Next up.
Patty. Her belt sounds so good, but I got to admit, I noticed the bad vowels before I noticed the belt. What the hell? Oh my.
Her jaw is literally like.
Oh yeah, it's thrilling. I have to just say this about Patty. You know, it's one wants. Yeah, thank you. One wants to criticize her vowel choices because so often it seems like she's singing like a belter and not telling the story. Mm-hmm. But then she does all these weird vowels that don't help her belt.
No,
it seems like she's more than anything. She's just fucking weird. Like, I think, like, she's not going like ba la, like to belt better. She's just like, that's like how she wants to do it.
It's just like she likes the way it feels in her mouth.
The mouth feel.
I mean, that's very Patty. It's just, even in some of these gypsy songs we were talking about, it's like, what are you doing? Okay, next up.
Get ready for me now, 'cause I'm a drummer. I simply gotta march my heart's a drummer. Nobody's gonna rain on my parade. It's not like a drummer. My heart is a drummer.
Oh God, Dan Fortune's gonna get this. Yep.
Yep.
Whoa, God, she sounds good. I don't think I've ever heard that recording.
It's from TV somewhere. Good.
I mean, she's basically like, oh, is this what you people like? Just like fucking belting? I could do that.
I can do it. Okay, a little.
Excuse me, I was trying to do art, but you just want fucking cow to scream at you. All right.
Stop.
back, sir. At least I didn't fake it. Hack, sir, I guess I didn't make it. Get ready for me, love, cause I'm a comer. I simply gotta march, my heart's a drum, and nobody, no, nobody is gonna rain on my
Oh, yeah?
Definitely knocking him out of the park today.
Yeah, she's in it.
All right, moving right along.
Your turn at bat, sir. At least I didn't fake it, pat, sir. I guess I didn't make it. Get ready for me, love, cause
Fuck me. Fuck me.
I simply
Yep,
gotta
you know it.
my heart's in trouble, no.
God damn it. Fuck.
Nobody
Stop. Everybody stop. Yes, 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 yes.
Unmistakable, but yeah, I could see you had it, but I have feeling so hard. The ripster, she really let her rip in that one.
She sounds so good and also so weird.
Yeah, this was right after the Virginia Woolf monologue.
By the way, I mean, you got to give props to Alice Ripley. Like, wasn't there that time shortly after she won the Tony for Next to Normal when the T on her was like vocal damage?
The tea around town, like back alleys.
Word on the Rialto,
Yeah.
Schubert Alley, but like, but she just like sounds so good nowadays.
Al the Ripper, that's great.
That is very, very good.
Okay, also someone who's letting it rip.
Adina.
Whenever
You think my reactions or something, Barbara was nonplussed by that performance.
Barbara, yeah, the choker said it all. When it's just a hair flat, you know it's Adina. Sorry, that was so mean. Someone who's never flat.
Lilius?
Sir, at least you didn't make it. Sir, I guess I didn't make it. Get ready for me, lovers on the car. Simply gonna watch my life to the nobody, no, nobody. Here's another rain on
Wait, is that Anne Hampton Callaway? I object.
No, Anne Harada. I'm just kidding.
Anne Ranking. Anne Hampton Callaway is not a first name diva. Yeah, you can do Anne Hampton if you want to go short.
Dan's just doing this to antagonize you.
He really is.
Anne Hampton Callaway has actually been in the Twitter conversation these past couple weeks because of The Nanny coming on HBO Max, and she famously sings the title song.
And wrote the title song.
Good job, Eric. All right, just a few more.
Your turn at bat, sir. At least I didn't make it. Hot, sir. I guess I didn't make it. Just ready for me, love, cause I'm a comer. I simply gotta watch my heart's a drummer. Nobody, no, nobody is
That's a hard one.
I don't know how I feel about that one.
Me neither. She is a disco queen.
Donna Summer?
Yes.
Oh, I've never heard that.
Me-
I thought maybe Donna Summer, and then I was like, she never sang that.
There's a few, good guess. There's a few notes in there where you can kind of hear it, but that is a hard one. One, I really want to see if you get this one.
How much my band down, I'll beat my drum, and if I find out you turn that back,
Leslie Kritzer.
I didn't fake
Yes.
it. That's I got.
Yep, Leslie Kritz.
Is that from the show?
Yes. All right, someone else you love.
Nobody is gonna rain on my
That's who she is, you know.
That's the right place for her. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know what's the wrong place for her is I'm the Greatest Star.
Hello.
Stick around for the jokes.
Stick around for the jokes.
I'll march my band out. I'll beat my drum.
Hey, Arthur.
And if I band out, you're turning faster. I didn't take it, faster. Yes, I didn't make it.
All right, just a few more.
How much my band out? I'll be
Lilius.
drum, and if I'm found out, your turn at that, sir. At least I didn't fake it, hat, sir. I guess I didn't make it. Get ready for me, love, 'cause I'm a comer. I've simply gotta march. My heart's a drummer. Nobody, nobody.
Someone's got me.
It's gonna rain on my
Oh. Is that right? Yeah.
Caitlin Duffy got it.
Wait, Zach, you're joking, right?
Yeah. No.
That's gotta be a joke. There's no deadpan in the comments.
Okay, the final grand finale.
Miss White, we love ya.
Don't turn it back, sir. I guess I didn't fake it. That, sir, I guess I didn't make it. Ready for me, love, 'cause I'm a comer. I simply gotta march. My heart's a drummer. Nobody, nobody is gonna rain on my parade.
I mean, I know that can only be my second favorite version of the song,
Yeah.
and yet I just heard Barbara do it so much that I always enjoy the Lilius one more.
Well, Lilius is the only one who actually like takes it a step further and makes it her own in a way that's, you know, not just a ripoff.
Or just like making it worse.
Or maybe
Wait, Zach, were you there that night in 2002? Were you even born, or you just mean seeing her do that song somewhere else? Because I was there that night in the cheap seats.
he said seeing this live.
I don't know. I don't feel like he's old enough.
Maybe he was a wee tot.
Possible. Children are allowed in the theater.
children will listen. Well, that's all the time we have today.
So everyone, please, if you haven't listened to our podcast, we hope that you enjoy it. Exactly, Ken Russell. That is quite the truth.
Yeah.
Oh my God. That would be a fun game. And Dan, I didn't know you were there. We could have met years earlier. Actually, Dan and I were probably at many of the same things and didn't meet. Okay, all right, okay. Anyway, please listen to the podcast and please write us a review on Apple Podcasts.
Please.
You don't have to be creative or funny or even that nice. Just go leave 5 stars and be like, this podcast is adequate. Literally, honestly, a bad review would be better than no review.
A bad review, but 5 stars.
Yeah, 5 stars. And also, so give us your suggestions for other either versions that did not make the cut or covers of songs from Gypsy to include. We can also include the other character songs. So all you people that think Laura Benanti invented Stairs or whatever, maybe we'll throw on one of her songs.
Invented Lambs.
And I want the Merman Little Lamb. We are, I guess we can say it, we're really leaning toward our next Roses and Daffodils after a pause being Follies.
Yes.
A show called Follies. Which I wasn't in.
Yeah, I mean, another treasure trove of great songs and performances.
I'm scared because, that's what I was thinking listening to the pod again, is I was like, people might think I'm an idiot or I get shit wrong about Gypsy, but I've done the work.
Right.
I know that show. I mean, I saw Bernadette 3 times, Betty twice, Patty between the different productions 15 times. And watching all the movies again and again. I know I used to run lines. When Patty was in Sweeney Todd on Broadway, before she was going to do Gypsy at Ravinia, I used to go meet her at Ruth's Chris Steakhouse after the show and sit there with the script and run lines with her so she could go do Gypsy at Ravinia. I know Gypsy. I know Follies, but I'm not a lot of people out there know Follies better than I know Follies. I'm going to have to really put my nose to the grindstone.
Yes. We will have
too many cooks. Kevin Daly can get his own podcast.
Well, that's part of the fun is just taking the journey and learning. I learned so much from this Gypsy one. All right, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. We love you. Have a great week. Mwah.
Autumn, winter, next year.
Time heals everything. It's a song. Time heals everything.